All right, so we're going to look today at, now that we know about atoms, we know how to solve for the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons, we're going to look at how to actually go about drawing atoms to properly represent them. So we're not talking about particle pictures here now. We're talking about actually having a diagram that shows how many protons, neutrons, and electrons that the atom has. So instead of just drawing circles, we're going to be drawing, I guess, more circles you're going to see. Okay, so the type of diagram I'm going to show you first, okay, there's two types I'm going to show you. One is called a Bohr-Rutherford diagram. Okay, so or we can just use BR for short. So the reason why it's called a Bohr-Rutherford diagram is because it combines the ideas that both Bohr and Rutherford discovered. So with Rutherford, we have the nucleus, and with Bohr, we have the energy levels, or the shells, or the orbits. So we're going to show both. We're going to show the nucleus, and we're going to show the electrons in their energy levels. But first, let's review how do we go about calculating our pin numbers. So remember, our protons is equal to, what am I putting number there for? Number should be at the end. Protons is equal to the atomic number, right? And electrons is equal to the number of protons, right? So, oh my goodness. Atomic number. So number of protons. So neutrons, what you do is you take your mass number and we subtract the atomic number to get our number of neutrons in the nucleus. Okay? So Bohr-Rutherford diagrams are used to represent atoms. So the first thing we're going to do is we draw a circle. And I'm going to do these. The best way to learn these is through example. But I'm just going to go over the rules that we're going to use, and then we're going to do a bunch of examples together. So first we're going to draw a circle, and that circle we draw is going to represent the nucleus. So I'm just going to do it roughly here. So this circle, imagine, would be my nucleus. So inside this nucleus, this is where you would write the number of protons, and we use the symbol for protons, and the number of neutrons here. So let's just say, for example, I'm just going to make something up for the first one, then we'll do some real ones. So let's say, actually, let's do carbon, because it's something easy to remember, our, unfortunately, our like evil number. So we have 6 protons and 6 neutrons for the nucleus, right? So there's our nucleus, it's done. Now we're going to draw circles around this nucleus, so like larger circles, and these are going to represent the orbits or energy levels or energy shells, whatever you want to say. They all mean the same thing, right? So the first orbit we draw has to only hold a max of 2 electrons. So basically we can fit 2 electrons on this circle. So where you put the electrons is important. Okay, so for carbon, so let's just quickly do carbon. We know it's 666, right? So for carbon, that first orbit that we just drew is going to have 2 electrons. So the electrons are negatively charged, and normally electrons come in groups of 2. Okay, so this first one is 2. Now where they're located have to be actually as far apart as possible. So you can draw them either up and down, or, let me backtrack that, side to side. Okay, that's exactly the same thing. But they have to be equal distant apart. Okay, so personally, I tend to do up and down. I don't know, it's just like a visual thing that I prefer the way this looks. Anyways, it doesn't matter. You can draw it. Don't draw it because you think this is the way I like it. What matters is I'm marking, do you have 2 electrons? Are they equal distance apart, either up and down or side to side? Okay? So that the maximum that can fit on the first orbit is 2. Now, every other orbit, so how many orbits you draw depends on how many electrons you have. But other than the first one, the rule is that every other orbit that we draw can hold a max of 8. So because we have 6 electrons in total to draw, 6 electrons here, we've already drawn 2. That means we need 4 more. Okay, so the order that you put these in will matter. So I kind of mentioned that electrons come in groups of 2, right? So when you have your 8 electrons, again, the placement will matter. So here, normally what I do is I think of it as, you can think of it as like we're making the sign of the cross, or you can think of it as north, south, east, and west. I did it opposite, north, south, east, and west. It doesn't matter the order you do this in. What matters is you need 1 on each of the sides, and then if you need more than 4, you then go back and you double them up in groups of 2. Okay, this will make more sense. That part will make more sense once we do other examples. But for now, so we have only 1, 2. We need 4, 5. Oh, sorry, 3, 4. I literally cannot count. Sorry. It's early in the morning when I'm recording this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's so we've drawn we had our 6 protons and 6 neutrons in the nucleus, and we have 6 electrons total on the outside. So this is our Bohr-Rutherford diagram for carbon. Okay, we're going to do many more. We'll do at least 4 more examples, okay? I'm going to do 2 more. I'm going to have you pause the video and you can try out 2. So my little note here at the bottom, the last shell or the last energy level or the last orbit that we draw has actually a different name. Okay, so it's called a valence electron. So this is going to become more important when we get into the section 3 lessons, or basically in the last part of our chemistry unit. Valence electrons are going to become more important, and valence shells will become more important because we're going to start talking about molecules. So for carbon specifically, the second orbit that we drew, so the second energy level, was our valence shell. So this is our valence shell. Now, how many electrons that are on that valence shell are called our valence electrons? So carbon, for example, has 4 valence electrons, because on the last shell that we drew, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's do some more examples. So let's do, we'll do something smaller than carbon, and we'll do something larger than carbon, so I can show you the difference between them. So let's do calcium. Actually, let's do sodium. And then we're going to let's do something smaller. Let's do lithium. Actually, no. Maybe neon? Hold on, let me look at the periodic table. This is what happens when I don't come in with a plan, and I feel like it adds a little bit more realness to the videos. Okay. So here's carbon. Okay, so we'll do lithium for sure. And let's do, let's do something nice and big. We'll do sulfur. Okay. No, not that one. Okay. All right. So no matter what, for either one, before we start drawing, we're going to do our P, E, N numbers. Okay, so let's take a look at that periodic table again. So sulfur has, let me shift this. Sulfur has 16 protons, 16 electrons, and then 32 minus 16, 16 electrons, right? Okay, so let's do this. So we mentioned this already. So 16, 16, and this guy was 32 minus 16, which is 16. Okay, so the first circle we're drawing, this is representing our nucleus. So we're going to write down what's in the nucleus. So we have our protons and we have our neutrons. Now we're going to start adding. So we have 16 electrons to draw. So we'll draw our first shell. We're going to have 1, 2. Remember, that's the maximum that can fit. So our next orbit or shell can hold a maximum. All the other ones, remember, other than the first one, all the other ones can hold a maximum of 8. So we've used up 2. That means we have 14 more to go. So I'll show you what this looks like when it's going to be nice and full. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's important. You have to have 1 on each side before you can now double up. So because we have more than 4 that's fitting on this, we're going to keep going. So then we have 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Why that guy didn't color in. There you go, 8. So this is what the orbit looks like when it's a full maximum of 8. But we're still not done actually, because we have 2 plus 8, that's 10. We have 6 more electrons we need to draw. So if you need more, you literally, oops, I dropped my pen. You literally will keep going and add another circle. Right? You add as many energy levels as you need to have all of the electrons in their proper placement. So we have 6 more. So we're going to do the same pattern again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's our Bohr-Rutherford diagram for sulfur. Okay. Let's see. So when you're doing, see how we have 6? Let's backtrack for a second. I'll show you another way that you could have done this. So no matter what, we know we need to have 1, 2, 3, 4. When you do your doubling up, some people decide to start on the opposite sides. Like instead of going up and down first, they go left and right first. This is still correct. Okay, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6. What would be incorrect is if you place them not further apart. So you always want to go back to almost the same thinking as the first orbit. As you're doing your placements, you want to have as far apart as possible in the 4 quadrants anyways. So because I was doubling up 2 of them, the 2 that should be doubled up need to be equal distance apart. So I can either, so this would be incorrect. So I can either do my doubling up as up and down, or my doubling up as left and right. Okay. Now you might see, if you go online and you're looking at different Bohr-Rutherford diagrams, you might see different styles of this. Okay, so this technique I'm showing you on how to do these diagrams is really to your benefit, because it will make it easier when we do the next part of chemistry if you've done it in this way, if that makes sense. I'm hoping it does. Okay, so let's take a look now at, we're going to do lithium. So let's go to the periodic table so we can get our info for lithium. So we have 3 atomic numbers. So we have 3 protons, we have 3 electrons, and then we have 7 minus 3, we have 4 neutrons. So let me shift this guy over. Okay, we'll use a different color so we don't get confused with the sulfur there. So we have 3 protons, 3 electrons, and this was 7 minus 3, which is 4 neutrons, right? Okay, so we're going to draw our first circle. First circle is representing the nucleus. So we have 3 protons and we have 4 neutrons. Then we have our first orbit. Our first orbit has mass of 2. So we have 3 electrons. So that means we need 1 more electron. So we're going to add 1. And actually, since you have literally only 1, it doesn't really matter where it is, because it's there's nothing else for it to be with to be equal distance apart. Right? So meaning you can put it here or on the bottom or the left or the right. Either way, it would all be correct. Okay. Now, before we get to the next part of the video, I want you to try 2 examples on your own. Okay. So let's try nitrogen and calcium. Okay. So pause the video, try these out. So remember, you're doing your P, E, N numbers for each one first, and then in the second part of the video of the lesson, we will take these up and then I'll show you the next part.